Welcome to Data, Dollars, and Dynasty, the podcast where data meets destiny. 3 voices, 1 mission, using data to build a dynasty. Next.
AI is going to widen those numbers. Absolutely. And that there has to be emphasis on youth identifying what those jobs of tomorrow look like. You have to understand what skills are required to even attain those jobs. And you have to start getting prepared for these jobs.
Plus,
it's exciting to be a part of the future, train these kids, get them ready for tomorrow, and have a lasting impact on tomorrow's workforce. So yeah, I look forward to touching minds across the world.
Now welcoming your hosts, Jeremy Sr., JJ, and Jaden.
Welcome to the 5th episode of Data, Dollars, Dynasty. I'm Jeremy Williams Sr., CEO, founder of Sandai Global, our for-profit company, and Sandai Cares, our nonprofit company. I have on the episode with me my fellow colleagues and sons, JJ Williams.
What's going on, everybody? It's JJ Williams. I know it's been some time since you guys last heard from us, so it's good to be back.
All right, and Jaden Williams.
Yes, sir. Pleasure to be here.
All right, everybody. Yep, it's been about 3 months since you last heard from us. Over those last 3 months, we have really had our heads down. You know, we brought to you pretty quickly 4 episodes in our series of just kick things off this year. And we had initially had a nice roadmap, if you will, in terms of what we wanted to talk about on these podcasts. Last episode occurred back in March.
March 7th.
In March 7th, right? So, yep. And so that episode, we went back to the drawing board on one of our flagship programs called DataGen Scholars. It's a program offered through our nonprofit for high school kids across the globe, helping them to learn how to leverage data analytics and generative AI technologies and get prepared for tomorrow's workforce, where, you know, workforce is going to be dominated by AI. So we really spent the last 3 months cleaning that program up. We had some focus groups, if you will. We talked to different leaders, educational leaders, obviously talked to some families, talked to some parents about how we could modify that program. And I'll talk more about that program again here in a second. But to revisit where we are in terms of our episodes, I want to talk about the episodes thus far to give you an idea of what our journey has been to date. So the first episode was when we introduced our company and introduced this podcast. Second episode, we really spent more time talking about that DataGen Scholars program. So we introduced you to that program. Third episode, we shifted gears a little bit. We talked about how you could use data to unearth your genius or our genius, if you will. How you can use data to figure out what it is that you can be great at, can be elite at. In the last episode, we invited my twin brother, Jeffrey Williams, Microsoft guy, to come in and talk about our journey. So this is, again, my brother and I, our journey to where we are today and what role data played in that, and what role relationships, whether it be family, friends, teachers, parents, of course, played in us getting to where we are today. So this episode, we're going to go back to the starting block, right? Which is this DataGen Scholars program. Of course, on the for-profit side, our emphasis is really on helping organizations build a capacity to leverage data and AI to help them earn better revenues, generate profits, better efficiency, things of the like. On the nonprofit side, Sandai Cares is about the individual, okay? And I think for us, with the arrival of the new president, Washington, D.C., Elon Musk, his entity, his enterprise, the Doge enterprise, and just the work that they were attempting to do early in the fiscal year or the calendar year here, it said to us we need to go back and look at some things, look at how even we needed to re-envision and reimagine what the future of work would look like. And then we want to incorporate that into our programming. So let's do this. I want to talk about a couple of articles before we jump into the DataGen program. There's a couple of articles I know we looked at over the last 3 weeks that even changed how we're running this DataGen Scholars program. So that first article, let's talk about that article, the NVIDIA CEO. You want to talk about that a little bit, Junior?
Yeah, definitely. So everybody, just get you guys caught up. About, I want to say a month ago, Fortune, they published an article that basically just speaks about the importance of AI and whatnot. And the reason why it's so important is because they actually got one key person to come in and give them a quote and really talk about how AI is going to impact jobs of the future. So, but this important person was NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang. For any of you guys that are not familiar with NVIDIA, they're basically one of the big tech superstars when it comes to companies, right? They actually produce the chips that many AI companies use in their products and whatnot. So they're very important, very essential to the world of AI. And like I said, this guy's a billionaire. He's been a billionaire for the last couple of years. But one thing he's seeing that's very relevant is that this AI, right, it's not necessarily just going to replace your jobs itself, but the jobs are going to get replaced. They're going to get replaced by people that basically know how to use AI, right? That's one big incentive of our DataGen Scholars program, is training these next generation of students on how to use these relevant tools. And what he is saying is, if you don't know how to use these tools, not only are you going to lose your job to these technologies, but you're going to lose your job to somebody that knows how to use these technologies, more so to speak. So that's one thing we took from the article. And again, that you can go ahead and elaborate on that if you want to.
Yeah, so this is how I look at this. All right, so these CEOs are at the perch. They're looking downstream. They have all this data information. They're like in the rooms where it happens, right? They know exactly what they're talking about. Now, of course, depending upon which CEO you talk to, they probably have a different vision of the effect AI is going to have on jobs. But you think about a youth, a person, when you go through school, the purpose of the education system is to basically put you in a position to help you become productive as an adult, as a citizen, to help you, again, identify a potential skill that you might have, a career that you could have to develop into, and put you on a pathway to success via a job. What it looks like is that, historically speaking, that when it came to jobs, man competed against man, right? So whether that means that you are a domestic applicant competing against an immigrant or international applicant, it was still mano a mano. Here's what's different with this AI. AI is being created in the millions every day. These bots.
Right.
Okay, so it just means that now is man against tech.
Yeah, man.
So this is what NVIDIA CEO is saying. If you don't have any know-how regarding this AI and what it's about, how to leverage it, then the AI could put you out of work itself, but at least in the short term, it's most likely to happen that somebody who's an elite user of this AI, like myself, like us on this call, it's going to put people out of work. And then if you think about corporations exist to create shareholder value. That's their job. Their job is to find a way to be efficient. Their job isn't to give you a job. You meaning the general population. Company's job, particularly if it's a publicly traded company, they're declarative. CEOs are hired and fired on the notion of creating shareholder value. Now, without necessarily going into too much details about financials, typically the most costly aspect of a company's budget is people. So if people can now be replaced by AI, which I understand is cheap, okay, companies are going to run towards that. They're going to run towards that. Just logically speaking, if my job as a CEO or executive of any publicly traded company is to make my shareholders, just say it, richer, that's what increased shareholder value is about, making shareholders richer. And I'm telling you that most of my cost is people. And if I get rid of the people, I can raise the value. What's going to happen? So that's what these guys are really saying without saying it. Now, there's a couple articles I want to reference before we get into this data gen. And I want you to talk about one, Jaden, from the CEO of Lowe's. Just give the audience a little taste of that article. And I want to then look at that third article about the struggle that Gen Zers are having in terms of finding work currently. Right? So I want to incorporate all of these articles, these recent revelations, into why we do our work with DataGen Scholar. So let's go with that Lowe's article, and then we'll move forward.
All right, sure. Yeah. So again, everyone, we discovered this article about a few weeks ago, early June, but it basically features Lowe's CEO and also the Amazon CEO. So we have Marvin Ellison from Lowe's, and we also have Andy Jassy from Amazon. And again, both of these are Fortune 500 companies. These are very prominent men in their fields. Each of them gave their own outlook on how AI is going to affect Gen Z and Generation Alpha. So we'll start off with just Lowe's CEO. According to him, employment was spiked to 10 to 20%. So half of all
That's unemployment.
Unemployment. So half of all entry-level white-collar jobs will be eliminated within the next 1 to 5 years, right? And according to Andy Jassy, this Amazon CEO, in the next few years, we expect that this will reduce their total corporate workforce as they efficiently gain more AI tools use across their company. A lot of entry-level white-collar jobs will be affected dramatically. So again, these are young people coming into the workforce looking for entry-level positions. In the past, we have been able to fill these roles with people looking to gain their footing in the workforce. But now with AI, is totally eliminating that. It's going to be something that you should be taking seriously and looking out for.
And let me chime in on that. So this goes back to a concept I picked up in business school. Some of my colleagues would say this word, something about a stock being sexy. They say, this stock is sexy, like NVIDIA's stock, right? It was hot, it's sexy, right? So you think about white-collar jobs versus blue-collar jobs, okay? The white-collar jobs are conceived to be sexier, right? Because these are like what office jobs, remote jobs, right? Supposedly, in some cases, you get these crazy perks in these roles. Blue-collar jobs are non-sexy, right? Those are the ones where you're having to sweat, right? You're having to get filthy, dirty, right? Think about plumbing and electrical work. That's hands-on stuff. That's non-sexy. And so I think what's happening in our culture just over the years, most youth have gravitated to try to get those sexy jobs. You want to call, again, white-collar sexy. It hasn't been a real push to do the blue-collar work. And specifically what Lowe's CEO is saying is that it's going to have to be a shift. So the jobs are going to be there, but there has to be less emphasis on what? Trying to get these sexy jobs. And how I envision it is somebody who's like, I'm not saying it's what people do now, but are you putting skin tone on your face to get ready to go to work? You're cleaning your face up, you're getting all pretty and polished up to go to work, right? Those jobs are going to be done by AI. The pretty jobs, right? The jobs that require you to get dingy, your hands get dirty, right? For you to sweat, for you to get greasy, right? The jobs that require that you interact with people more often than not, those jobs want to be abundant. Think about healthcare, right? Think about people owning homes, cars, mechanics, right? You're going to have abundance of those jobs. And it's probably, you go out and look at the data. We haven't done that. We probably should look at that. There's probably a ton of those jobs open now. I definitely know that one of the most projected gaps of opportunity in terms of the workforce is home health aides. I think we need like 1 million of those over the next 5 years or so. But those are lowly paid positions. So those are positions that actually a person specifically, you work with a person. Is that deemed to be a sexy job? Heck no. But those kinds of jobs are abundant, or will be abundant. So it's going to take a reimagining of what work looks like for most of us.
Now, for a quick commercial break to share some key program insights.
You've got grades, you've got ambition, but now you need experience that counts. The DataGen Scholar Next Step Scholars Program delivers real-world data and AI assignments, tiered tracks, and visible proof of your skills. This is how you move from learning to earning. Explore your path now at datagenscholar.com/next-step-scholar-program.
Now back to the podcast.
And that third article I want to talk about was this. I don't know the title of this article. What's the title of this article? Can you read the title?
It was a long sentence. It's a 25-year-old who delivered donuts to Silicon Valley bosses with his resume hidden inside. It's going viral.
Right. See, so apparently this kid, I guess it's genius. You know, most people like to eat. I guess most bosses like to eat. They like sweets. Seems like people on Silicon Valley like donuts, according to this article. Okay. But this kid basically hid his resumes in these boxes of donuts. I'm not sure if he baked the donuts or what, but in order to get his resume in front of people, he had to be creative. Okay. And so it's basically, the article goes on to say how hard it is for is it Gen Z?
That's right, Gen Zers. So,
all right, Gen Zers to find work. I think it even said that 4.5 million of them. Give me the date on it. What's the article say?
Yeah, so it starts off by saying 1 million of them worldwide. As far as specific, I guess you could say numbers, you're going to put it like that. It does mention some statistics, right? So
I read that somewhere. It says something about 4 million kids are having it hard to find jobs. It's a crazy number.
Yeah.
And that's to, what is it?
Yep. Over 4 million are currently job. There's over 4 million jobs.
Oh, 4 million Gen Zers in America.
Yep, in America.
All right, so the population has to be between 330 and 340 million people in America, right? And you want to just assume half of those people are old. You're coming down to about, say, 170, 180, maybe 150, somewhere in there. Million people, it might be below 30. All right, so 40 maybe. So you start thinking 4 million people, 4 million youth unemployed now. Today. This has nothing to do with AI that we're talking about now or tomorrow. This has to do with kids getting college degrees. If I'm correct, these are college degrees people, right?
It actually might be all of them.
It's all of them, okay. Just as college degrees or just seeking employment or not seeking employment. But 4 million youth, Gen Zers, estimated to be unemployed today. All right. Back to what NVIDIA CEO is saying, Lowe's CEO is saying, same deal. AI is going to widen those numbers. Absolutely. And that there has to be emphasis on youth identifying what those jobs of tomorrow look like. They have to understand what skills are required to even obtain those jobs. And you have to start getting prepared for these jobs. And that's why we do DataGen Scholars. So DataGen Scholars, again, is a 12-month learn and earn program where we essentially at Sandai Cares, and I'm very passionate about this program, where we essentially are paying kids to learn so that they can earn better tomorrow, okay? And what I like about what we've done with this program, when we talked about it back in March, maybe even February, we were still looking at how to modify it, but we've made some significant changes to the program. We're at a point now where we're only targeting a smaller number of students. I think we talked about 1,000 students, I believe, before. Now I think we're really more focused on quality. And again, it's just based on feedback that we receive from various stakeholders, if you will. So we have about 75 seats available for our 2025 to 2026 program, of which we've already filled, how many?
About 52 of those seats have already been filled.
Right. So we filled 52, and we have a window until the end of August to fill the rest. Of those 20 or 75 seats, 26 seats we reserved for specific students that we classify as what we call officers. And these students have a little extra benefit. They get paid a monthly stipend. It's about $225 a month to essentially help us run the program. These kids are mostly here in Virginia. So the other 26 officers, I believe 22 of them are based in Virginia, DC, and Maryland, okay? With most of them being in Virginia, Northern Virginia. We have one student in Canada, okay? We have 2 students, some twins, up in Manhattan, New York. Okay. And we got, I think, 1 person over here in California, I believe. So got a nice diversity there. In terms of split, I think it's about half and half, male, females, or girls and boys. And again, they're going to basically help us expand this program. And it's of our belief that every kid in America, every high school kid in America should have an opportunity to experience a program like DataGen Scholars. And DataGen Scholars, again, without getting into too much detail, 12-month, we have about 5 modules of learning in there. First module is where kids learn about data analytics and AI fundamentals via a partner. A Data Camp donates. We get free licenses to Data Camp, and kids are able to get up to 10 certificates, I believe, through Data Camp, but we only ask that they get a couple via our module. We have module 2, which is on generative AI. So we actually teach the kids how to use 10 relevant Gen AI tools. Think about ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. You got Synthesia, and we show them how to do these videos to train, right? We got module 3, which is on AI ethics and responsible use of AI. So about 12 topics there that we basically subject the students to, where they learn how to use it appropriately, how to disclose use of AI, being that it's going to be more prevalent. And then the 4th module is just specific to career readiness. So now we're helping the students understand how to think about obtaining partnerships or sponsorships, people to essentially represent them. We expose them to different career types that might be available to them in the future. Just a lot of different things we do there. We have a social media etiquette course in there where they learn how to present themselves on social media. And the last module, that 5th module, is where we actually give them a job. We call it a micro job. And that's for all of our participants, but our officers specifically, their micro job experience starts at module 1. So they have an opportunity to do assignments with us in literally the first month of joining with us. So again, we're very excited about the 26 kids that we have in this program. Okay, we developed a new website. So we had a new website up. We introduced a new accelerated option. We had some parents that talked about us considering students that didn't have the 12-month runway. So we have a 6-week offering accelerated program we currently offer for summer school options, if you will, called DataGen Scholar Summer Program. That program is going to then morph into just a regular accelerated option come September 1. So we just expanded a lot of aspects of this program. We're keenly excited about that's going to lie ahead for our students, our 26 students that are officers, and the remaining students that make up that 75. We have an event planned in August. We're going to invite a bunch of stakeholders out to that, the governor's office, congressional leaders, federal and state. We're going to invite some school leaders out, right? Superintendents. These are, of course, in Virginia. We're going to invite out some philanthropists, some corporations to just experience this program. And our students are going to be on display. So we're just very excited about where we stand with DataGen, where we are looking to go with the next few episodes of our podcast series is we're going to bring the students in. When we started talking to these officers about 2 months ago, we just were thrilled with just how poised these students are, how excited they are about tomorrow, even their accomplishments that they had experienced thus far in their short lifetimes. But we're going to bring them in and have them talk to you. So what you can expect from us in the next, say, 3 to 4 episodes, we'll bring in 3 or 4 of our students. And we're going to have them just talk to the world and talk to our audience and give you some ideas about how they see this stuff. It's great that we come here and talk about it, but why do they want to learn the DataGen Scholars hats off? What value do they see in the program? And we hope that information is then used to help other youth, particularly if you're an artist member and you're listening and you think your student or your child needs to be introduced to this kinds of opportunities. We want you to hear from that student why it's a great idea to consider DataGen Scholars. So that being said, I don't have anything else I want to add. I think we can conclude this podcast. JJ, Jaden, you guys have anything you want to add before we jump off?
Yeah. I would just say, going back to the DataGen Scholars program, everybody, again, we're looking forward to bringing on those students and then having you guys hear from them. But what I can say in the meantime, again, is we work with the kids up until this point, which is great seeing their interest in these new technologies. Sometimes it's easy for us to say, hey, the next generation is doomed, or in this case, where I think I'm actually in the same generation where a lot of kids were actually still training. So that's another good aspect. But it's good seeing these kids, their interest in the topics, as they learn little stuff, right? Even the micro job that my dad just mentioned, having the kids learn the financials and whatnot regarding that. It's good seeing their interest in teaching them something that they didn't know before, and then just seeing them say, oh, I didn't know that, or that makes sense, or that's cool that everything is tying together now, right? Just helping them connect those dots, because we were all young at one point. We were all in our teens. If we had maybe information that we didn't know existed, it could have helped us out. So again, just giving these kids an extra helping hand and being a light for them in the dark.
Hey, and then talk a little bit about, too, I failed to mention this, just the variety of applications we're getting. So where are these non-officer students, or the other 28 kids that have already applied, where are these applications coming from?
Definitely, yeah. So again, both of them are coming from the U.S., but we got kids applying from India. We got one kid that did apply, I believe, from Taiwan. Yeah, Taiwan as well. So that's over there in Asia as well.
Rwanda as well, right?
Yeah, Rwanda, Africa. Yeah, somebody from Rwanda applied. And then we also have a few from Europe as well that I believe are showing interest in the program also. So honestly, we've been getting applications around the globe for a while now. But again, the interest is growing on everybody. It's not just in the U.S. The world is taking notice of this program and taking notice of the need to get upskilled in generative AI and whatnot.
All right, Jada, you got anything you want to add, and I'll wrap up?
No, I think my brother pretty much conveyed the message perfectly. It's just exciting to be a part of the future, train these kids, get them ready for tomorrow, and have a lasting impact on tomorrow's workforce. So yeah, I look forward to just future podcast episodes. I look forward to you guys learning more about the program and just touching minds across the world. Now, for a quick commercial break to share some key program insights.
DataGen for Her is reshaping how women enter and thrive in the world of data and artificial intelligence. This reimagined experience helps women gain real-world AI skills, build confidence, and apply technology to real-world challenges. Learn more at datagenforher.com.
Now back to the podcast.
Yeah, so I'd say I'll conclude this episode by just saying, look, it's not just us saying this. The third article we talked about, 4 million kids are unemployed right now. Okay? Article, NVIDIA article. Okay? AI is going to put you out of work at the hands of a person that knows how to use it. That's what his position is. Okay? He's just one CEO out of many. Amazon CEO, Lowe's CEO. What are they saying? They're saying that they're going to reduce their workforces. So they're going to reduce their workforces because of AI. They're telling you this. It's out there. Google it. If you're listening to this podcast, okay, you owe it to yourself to get educated, to have an idea what's coming, and to start preparing for it. If you are an adult, if you don't want to spend that time and energy to prepare yourself for what is coming down the pipeline, this is not fear-mongering here. I'm not doing that. Okay? If you don't want to get prepared for the possibility of losing your job, because as I said earlier, corporations are in the business of creating shareholder value. And here's the irony to that. Many of us are quote-unquote investors in companies. Think about that irony. You are an investor in the company that you work for, probably in some cases. That's going to put you in the unemployment line. All because you want more as an investor. Think about that irony. So, if you don't want to take the time to get skilled up, we call it upskilling, don't let your kids suffer. Don't let your children suffer. Look at programs like DataGen Scholars and try to get your kids some fundamental skills that can help them start thinking about these jobs of tomorrow and how to prepare for them. Are we saying that DataGen Scholars is going to prevent you from having the kind of, hard luck or future child having hard luck in finding a job. I'm not saying that. But it will give them an outlook on what to expect for jobs of tomorrow. So challenge to you as an adult, as a parent, is if you don't want to take that time to do so, don't let your kids suffer.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Data, Dollars, and Dynasty. The views and opinions expressed in this episode are those of the individual speakers and do not reflect the views and opinions of Sandai Global or Sandai Cares. Visit us on our website at datadollarsdynasty.com to learn more about our companies and our priorities. Also, follow us on social media at Data Dollars Dynasty. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Thanks again for tuning in. We look forward to catching you on the next episode.